What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video. This one, I'm not streaming. I'm just going to go over a few games that I've played in this opening that was discovered by a women's master, Anna Cramling. It's called the Cow Opening. I saw a couple YouTubes on it. I've watched a few international masters play games. Eric Rosen for sure, and then Johnathan Schrantz or Vampire Chicken, I believe, has played a game. But I played 6 games with it. I'm gonna go over a few of them today. The very first one I played, one of the second ones I played, and then one of the last ones I played, which is gonna be a very good game. So that one has set a record for me for having the most brilliant moves in one game. Now it's a little different because on mobile it says there's 3 brilliant moves in that game, but on the website it just says there are 2. So uh, you debate it, whatever you want to do. You can agree with the actual app that says 3, or you can agree with the website that says 2, whatever you believe. But without any further ado, we will jump into our first game with the cow opening. Now, yeah, just like just a normal cow, COW, and she has named it this because her mother was a fan of Ferdinand the Bull. Um, Growing up. That was her favorite childhood TV show, which I don't think any of you have ever watched Ferdinand the Bull. I vaguely remember it, but it's locked away. So let's get into game one. I was playing this Brazilian player. Now we're all about 1500 here. I believe he was rated 1486 in this game, and I'm 1560. But it starts E3, D5, D3, and my opponent here likes to push pawns, so let's keep that in mind here. I'm now C4 is something I just kind of did to try to get rid of this pawn because I could see like me going here, this pawn coming, this pawn taken. So I was like, well, let's not let this pawn come down because when I put my knight here, I don't want to immediately have to bring it back because there's a pawn. But he pushes b5 and I take it, and then I put the knight here, which is more enabled. But I figured if the knight was here, I could at least get it to this square if this were to push, and it'd be all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I play d4. It comes in as anticipated. I place my knight here because I don't like to go backwards with it and then keep having to fight that. Plus, I'm attacking this bishop. I really wanted this bishop gone, and if they traded their darts for a bishop, I was fine with that. They did, and I tried to defend it. They take, en passant. I take back, and after they take, and it took me a while to wait. It took me after en passant. It took me 7 seconds to take back because I was trying to think. And after this, I saw that I could just take this, and I did. And trade queens, and I'm not down any material. I'm not up any material. It was just a clean trade of everything. And I was okay with that. So they block with the bishop, and I think for some time, and I'm like, do I want to keep the bishop, or will I just trade it off, let them develop the knight, get myself castled, and go? And I did, but I wanted to play a4 first because I didn't want this king to castle. So I played, but it did. So I played bishop a3, which completely just hangs this pawn, and my opponent missed that because if I take the rook, they also take the rook, and then I have to play like king up, and after they take this rook, I take this rook, and then they take the bishop back, and I'm down a piece. I did see this after I played the move. The move that I took 1 second to make. I castled because I knew it was coming. I didn't have time to get my bishop out. Even though I did, I could have just played bishop here, hitting this again. It probably would have probably would not have come. It may come like here, something like that, just to add pressure to everything. So I go ahead and castle. They take it. I attack the rook, and instead of taking my rook, which was just very possible because I can't take that again, I'd be down a piece. He just doubles his rooks. I attack the knight comes over. I take it. I'm like, fine. I threaten the rook again, bring it back over, and I didn't. And I thought for 10 seconds here because I thought about going to c1, but I just saw a rook here, and then this pawn comes over. Rook defends it. Pawn pushes, and it runs. So I didn't want that. So I brought it to B1, and I'm not trying to trade everything off. Bring my other rook over to C1. Rook's in the game. Kick this knight. Knight attacks my rook. I play rook up. Knight attacks my rook again. But this time, I can't just, come and attack this knight, which I thought about. I saw that the knight hits the rook and this pawn. So I play rook up to defend the pawn. Now this rook comes over, pinning. And I was like, well, I'm not going to take that, because if you take again, it's going to be a check. So I play king f2, which defends this pawn a second time in case anything were to happen. And if you take my rook, I've got the knight. And this rook comes in, I take, knight takes, and then I start trying to trade everything off. I'm down a pawn here, and I realize that. I'm very worried in this position. I'm taking a little more time. It was 5 seconds. That was I played this in 3 seconds because I know I need to stop everything. 8 seconds to play this move because I was really trying to debate, if this knight needed to go anywhere, if I need to start trying to reroute it. It's defending this. The king really can't get in with this pawn being here. This is all blockaded. You would have to get rid of this pawn, try to get rid of this pawn, and, so they push that pawn, and I just take back because I'm kicking the king out. I give this check, hits this. So if the king were to go like over here, I'd get this with check. And then it's very much a draw. It's very drawish at this point. I'm just hoping it's a draw. But after a few moves, this is how my first game ends. Draw by repetition with my first game in the cow. It was good. There's nothing crazy in this game. It was just, very a little scary for me because I'm not used to. I mean, I play slow openings. Like I don't want to go, knight f3, then here, and it's solid. But this is I'm moving my knights, 4 times in the opening. So that was game one. We'll jump into game two against El Barto from Poland. Now, when we got in this position, my opponent sent something in the chat and said, "Isn't this the Kremlin opening, the cow or whatever?" And I said, "Yes." I was like, "It is the cow." And they went cow, and I said moo. It was a good little exchange, and a little different move order. This guy's not pushing pawns as much. Now the last guy I played, I rematched, and then I won. And again, he was trying to push pawns, but this is something you can play with black or white. In case you haven't seen Anna's video on it, but Bishop G4 was a move I hadn't seen, hadn't thought of, and I thought about taking it. And I was like, wait a minute, there's a knight. So the knight kind of defends that. So instead of playing f3, I played bishop f2, which is the best move, which I didn't know was the best move. I hadn't studied this. I just knew that this is the setup for the cow. Just knights here and pawns here. Very solid. Almost like a hippo. But instead of having your knights, here, and then fianchettoing the bishops, you place your knights on b3 and g3. So we trade. And then I really had to think here. Did I want to open the center? Did I want to open the center and, have the threat of rook coming over? And I thought, yeah, I will open the center. Because at the very least, I can go ahead and castle. I have time before this comes in. And get all my stuff out. So I castle immediately. Rook comes over, as expected. And I just move out of the way. Now my opponent, attacks my queen. I take a free pawn. It took me 14 seconds to take this because I was like, well, if this comes, am I getting trapped? But this was the best move according to Stockfish. It was a free pawn. And that's the best move according to Stockfish. So this pawn, I was like, oh, I'm going to end up, in some sort of repetition draw. And if I move, then takes. And there's a big threat here if my knight is removed. So thought about all this, went through all this. Then I saw this knight come over, and what is about to happen is a very wild exchange and a very I don't know what my opponent was really thinking here. So the knight comes over, obviously threatening to fork. That's what I saw. I saw my opponent is threatening to fork on f2. So I defend f2 because if I go to e1, same thing. You're just gonna take f2. So I come over. The rook comes down. It is that rook is completely hanging. It is just free. And I think my opponent meant to take and then play this, but um, did not happen. I think you just played it backwards. But then he takes on h2, and again I think and I'm like, okay, I can just I can just play f3. Then the knight gets stuck, but then I can't play this, so it's just always defended. And I can't put my knight back here. My knight can't come here. Well, it can. My knight can go here. I thought, well, bishop can go here, but then after the exchange, the knight just comes back, and it's whatever. And I was like, well, wait a minute. If I take this knight after the bishop takes, well, it's just like taking the pawn on h2. It can't get out. It's just stuck. And so I played all this, and I was like, okay, so now I'm gonna win the bishop. Well, my opponent was like, well, I'm not gonna let you because that is defended by the queen. Is attacked by the queen, so I can't move my rook over yet. Um, so I attack the queen, try to get the queen out of there. Queen's still hitting this. If the knight moves, threatening to come in here, hitting both these. Um, rook's gonna come in. And I was like, okay, I gotta get this queen out of here. So I take this pawn, hitting the queen another time. Queen moves again. Now it's not defending that square. So now I'm gonna go win that bishop. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. All that's fine. I take this pawn. The rook moves away. I move back down. Now it took me some time. It took me 28 seconds to think of doing this, and I was really just figuring out where I wanted to put my queen. I was like, do I want to take this pawn and see this? But I knew this rook was going to come down here eventually. At some point, there's some way to get rid of these knights, bring this rook down, maybe even bring it all the way down and get rid of this. This rook can't come in and defend anything because the queen's just going to attack it one way or another. You've got g5 kicking the knight away, and then these squares open up. This square, really starts to become open again. You've got c5 here, kicking. I mean, you can kick both these knights. So it gets tough. There's g5, and I was really, really thinking about like sacrificing the rook. I was thinking about taking here with the queen, which doesn't quite work. The knight is undefended, so I bring this knight in. And point is, if you take, I was really thinking about taking here. I think there was this move, and oh yeah. If this takes, I take this with the rook, with the bishop. Sorry. Um, and then if the rook takes, I just move. The rook can take, but if I lose the rook here. But if I don't just move, then if I take back with the rook, then the queen comes in. It's checkmate. But anyway, I don't know why I left that hanging. Oh, because it's not hanging. Because I'm hitting the queen. That's why. So I hit the queen, and I think for a long time here. I think for another 21 seconds. And I was again just considering this. I was thinking about where this knight could go. I saw that this was a check, but it doesn't do any good. Uh, yeah, it doesn't do any good because rook just goes back, defended by the knight. Whatever. King comes up. Again, another long 51 seconds to think about this move because I was considering like knight here, king takes, or knight takes, whatever, rook takes. But all that was too dangerous because the queen and the rook are both just looking down this file. So, just played back, another check, get out of the way, trying to trade off the rooks. I want this rook gone. Gave a check, forced a queen trade, and now I've got to win. I start pushing my pawn. I have to bring my king in because my knight's hanging. Can't let any of this stuff through. Now I've got this bishop here to eye down if this knight tries to do anything, trying to come back. My knight and bishop have to stop all these pawns. I'm able to. I'm able to come in and just start cleaning up. It is mating a few moves here, things like mating 2 or something like that. But no, it's like mating 5. But all I have to do really is start, you coming this way towards this knight, get this knight out of the corner, and then go and make a queen come over and checkmate. That was game 2. Game 2 was a good win. Opponent was really good. If you see this guy, he's a good sport. Watches Annick Rambling. Knows the opening. Here's the analysis from that game. I played with 86% accuracy. They played with 78.5. It was a rough start, but ended well for me. Let's see, what is that final position? It's plus 15. But I mean, after this pawn moves and these pawns start rolling, I mean, I've got 3 pawns that are just gonna go, and there's nothing that can be done. My opponent knew that and resigned. They said good game. They said GG's and resigned. Now, the final game, the game with your 2 or 3 brilliant moves, depending on how you want to look at it, will be against Rhapsodia. Rhapsodia, I believe, also knew the opening. And again, this can be played as white or black. So here's an example of it being played as black. I'm blitzing the opening out because I need to know it. F4 kind of stumped me for a few seconds. I was like, can I still play knight g6? And in the other game, this was also possible. But yes, you can, because I saw if takes, the center's opened up. But I'm fine with moving back if I have to. Obviously, I can't. Obviously, I can't. Come back here because it's pawn. But I was fine with it. And then I kind of take that square away, but I still have f8 if I need it. They're doubling this bishop and queen, which made me think my opponent was going to castle queenside, so I wanted to hesitate for a second. And I did a big think here on what my next move was going to be, and I just bring my bishop out. I was like, is it okay for me just to bring this bishop out? Because maybe I want to castle queenside too. So move the bishop, develop it, get it to a good square, a decent square, the only square. And I'm like, okay, and I'm still ready for this. Everything's still fine. Still trying to figure out what this battery is. Trying to think if there's anything for this queen in the future. Opponent castles to the queen side, and I want to trade this knight off. They take. They start pushing their pawns. I start pushing mine. You can't take that back. So I castle this way, which is dangerous because I saw that there was this. If I take, and there's this, and the bishops are just staring this down over here, and it gets really dangerous, really fast. But it's also the only place I could castle at the time, and I saw there was something else that I was looking at here. Something in this position made me think I have to castle this way because there was a super threat, and I don't remember what the super threat was, but there was a real threat, and I couldn't really get by without getting my king to safety. Oh, yeah, you move this, you double your rooks, and you're just staring this down, and there's a lot of pressure on this. There's too much pressure on the bishop. I can't defend it if I'm not castled. That's exactly what it was. It was the bishop moving, so I had to get it out of the way. And that was just the safest way to play it. Bring the rook over, just lining it up with the queen. That's all it does. If bishop moves, then I've got tactics with this bishop. But the queen moved, and this is where brilliant move number 1 comes in. Not quite. It's in 2 moves, but it's not the next one. I take this, and I take this because this is hanging, so this is a free pawn for me. And there's no threat over here yet because these pawns are still blocking the rooks and the bishops. Now this pawn is kind of sort of hanging, as in it can be taken, but you're getting rid of your own attacking piece. Like this piece is huge. If they were to play this and I take, it's just I'm getting destroyed down the king side of the board. So I start ripping apart the defense over here. After just that, just trying to rip this open and checkmate me, I ignore it, and that's brilliant move number one. It is bishop captures on b2, and bishop captures b2 is a brilliant move on the chess app, but it's not a brilliant move on the chess.com site. But I do end up getting my free piece. I bring this over to stop this pawn from advancing. Eyeing down this pawn is just completely hanging. If I can draw arrows, would pin the knight. You know, stopping everything. I'm threatening to take this pawn now, almost. I guess not quite, almost. If I bring my knight in with check and they take, then I can win. But knight back, attacking the rook. Give a check. King can go to a couple different squares. I think when I reviewed it, this square was the best square, just because there's not very many opportunities to attack on that side of the board, like all the way over. But if you go like here and here, I've got checks here. If you go here, I've got a check here. And then I can just like belligerently check you. But if you go to the light square, then I can't go here with any threatening of this because this pawn. But king moves back, and here comes brilliant move number two. Depending on if you use, it's either the first or second brilliant move according to whatever you use. There's brilliant move number one. I'm getting rid of this attacker. I don't want this pawn to move and get being checkmated and run around all over the board because this is a major threat. And then my opponent pushes. That is the best move. The best move was to just get rid of the bishop and play. It's because you're just adding more pressure. You're threatening to come here and pick up a piece. Well, you're threatening to double up and take everything I have. This is a threat because I can't take it because the queen defends it. It's just it is. It is. I mean, it is. It is grim if I don't, keep attacking. So I give a check, force to take with the rook. I get the rook off the G file. I can now take this pawn, with relative ease. No real problem here. I'm down. I don't have a rook, but I have two pieces for the rook, and I would argue that I'd rather have the two pieces than the rook. It's always done me better. They bring the other rook over. I think the best move is to bring this rook back. But I come here. I'm threatening to just checkmate. Opponent sees it, gives a check immediately. All I did, I moved it to the wrong square. I should have gone here. I guess I don't know what the best move is. I don't remember. But maybe the best move was not to take the pawn. Maybe just to give a check and start winning everything. But yeah, I think that's right. I think the best move here was to give this check, have them step over, and then give this check. And then whatever they do, I'm just winning everything. Give this check. They go here. And give this check. Yeah. And it's just, it is tough. but that's what the best move was. But that's not what I played. But here I am threatening this checkmate. A queen takes, and obviously this is a fork. You can win the bishop, the knight. Unfortunately, I had this move defending both, and there is no tactic to do this because the queen covers that. And again, I've played f5 early in the game, so I can just escape. Queen comes over, and it took my opponent 2 seconds to play this move. But while I was playing the game, I was like, okay, what happens if the queen takes on b7? Queen takes b7. I was like, well, my rook's in trouble. I don't really have any easy checks because, the queen would defend that. I'd have to go here and then just try to figure everything out from there. King steps over. Maybe I can take this pawn. But again, just a lot of, a lot of stuff going on. And the game would continue. However, my opponent blundered the queen to this fork. And my opponent resigned. And that was my best game. It wasn't my best game. It was my three brilliant move or two brilliant move game, however you want to see it. My best game ended in 14 moves after my opponent did see that how aggressive the cow really could be. But all in all, that is the cow opening. That is how I've played the cow opening. That is three really good games in the cow. If you want to see any more, I stream on Twitch. I've not streamed anything with the cow yet, but it is a very, very dangerous opening. The only refutation I have seen is if early in the game you go here, then h4, and your best move is h6 here, and then you're forced to go back, and you're crushed. It is like if you're black in this position, it's for white plus 3, I think. Let's see. Let's analyze this position. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. H4, H3, H5. I'll let this analyze for a second. Yeah, it is +2. +2, and if you're black, it's -2. Other way around. Of course, if I was playing as white with this opening, this is -2 for black. So, just a little rundown, a little bit of way to refute it. Yeah, so that'll do it. And we will see you guys in the next video, which will probably be another stream video, but fun all in all. Thanks for watching.